with us anymore. The first guy is named Ty Wansley, and the second gentleman is named Jay Marvin. And I was their producers here in Chicago on WLS AM radio. And when I was their producers, I was also have become their friends. We all became friends. And so when I went from one style with Ty was calm, cool, collective, and then working with Jay, who was combative but caring. And so these two different styles of personalities, but they had the blueprint of what made them work, what made them tick, what made them great. And I would sit there on the other side of the glass taking down notes of what they were doing. So that way, by the time I was ready to hit the microphone to become a host myself, I had an idea. I had a thought process of what I wanted to become. When you look at your competition, quote unquote, around you, one of the questions I asked myself was, what makes myself different from other people? And the question was simple. I'm different from somebody else. So that's what you build upon. Don't be like somebody else. Be yourself. Be different. Strive on the fact that you're different. Strive on the fact that certain things may enter your mind and you want to share with the audience, because that stands you out. Because that way, if you're able to gleam on to an audience, when it starts from 1 and 2 and start to build up, as you said before about doing content, once they like what they hear and see, they're not going to go anywhere. They're not, because they can't get in anywhere else. Please be original. When I was teaching talk radio in college and at Illinois Media School at one point, I told my students, do not, and I repeat, do not look at somebody and say, that's the way. It's a way, but not the way. And then you just go from there. So once again, you use somebody as a blueprint. Once again, see what makes them great. And then eventually, because of their voice and studying them, you can find your own voice in time.
Oh no, I tune into Baseline because I study you and I look at your manners and I see what you do and how you control your show, and that's me wanting to learn from one of the greats, like me wanting to learn from somebody who's done it before and how you do a show, because that's how you're gonna improve. I'm not. I study you in a way where, like, okay, I like that about bass. I like this, but I'm still gonna be me. I understand where you come from, because yes, I study you. I study Cole. I study Brian, because you guys been doing this for years.
Don't study Brian. Don't do that.
Oh no.
No, God, no. I gotta stop you right there. I love you more. But if you study Brian, if you study this dude, be prepared to be delivered by the Mothership Connection. He's not from here. He's not. If you're into Mars and different types of Mother Hubbard, different planets, go right ahead. Study astrology and the stars and the moons and stuff like that, because that's where he's from. He's not human. You see the shape of that head? Have you seen the shape of his head? I'm telling you, compared to some extraterrestrials out here, and get back on me later on.
Yeah.
Oh my
okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to go there, but I had to for the. I love my brother. I mean, I love him, but goddamn it, he's not from here, Doc. I'm telling you.
I know you love him. That's the reason why you said it.
Oh man,
that's just too much.
I could go in on because I love that Mother Hubbard, but he ain't from here. He ain't from Chicago. I don't give a damn what he tells y'all. He ain't from here, man.
You don't own him being a Chicagoan. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, he ain't from here, Doc.
Oh man.
Okay, I'm sorry. Please continue, Wise all, but I had to get that one in. I'm like, you're gonna do that, Doc. You gotta go in.
But say that you know I'm always tuning into Baseline, right? I'm always checking. I'm always, and that's because when I see your show is like you like we talk about how you're able to deliver your lines with a straight face, like it just comes out, and
that's a gift,
and that's just, to me, is amazing seeing you at work, because everything you say is with the same. It doesn't. Nothing changes on how you deliver it, but it's delivered in the manner that it's supposed to be delivered.
Mm-hmm.
If you understand what I'm saying,
I do. I do. No,
That's a
and
key
that
to
goes
that.
back to one simple philosophy I have with that. Know thyself. To thy own self be true. Know who you are. Love who you are. Embrace yourself, scars and all. Because if you don't do that, you can't do this. As far as I'm concerned, you have to embrace everything about oneself in order for that oneself to go to the masses. And that's the only way I see it. It could be done. We have too many copycats in all types of fields that it is already. Everybody's copying somebody else. Everybody wants to be the next so-and-so. Let's try being the first you. Let's try that for a change and see what happens.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just might be surprised.
And it's funny that people don't want to subscribe to that. They want to be the next something. And then they promote wanting to be the next somebody. You know, I mean, in sports, we hear it all the time, who's going to be the next Michael Jordan? Who's going to be the next Kobe Bryant? Well, no, nobody. Who's going to be the next Tom Brady? Nobody. Peyton Manning? Nobody. And it's best for them to be the first whomever they are, and because that's how you're going to fully appreciate them, because you will appreciate them uniquely to everybody else, because you got a chance to see them do it the way that they did it. They achieved greatness, like you said, which is a perfect way of saying this, Base. It is a way, but it's not the way. So I mean, Montana got his rings a way. Brady got his rings a way. Now Mahomes got his rings a way. But they didn't do it the same way as the other ones. They did it the unique way. They had a unique style that got them to the chip multiple times, all three of them. So I love the fact that you were saying celebrate the one thing that is unique, and that is you, and have that come out of you. And if it does, then chances are people will embrace you. If you have a personality that's worthy to embrace.
Exactly.
If not, you might be in trouble. But if you try to pattern yourself after somebody, you will be hated on for being a copycat. So yeah, I fully grasp that.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, we're gravitating toward those type of people because they're doing it. They're doing it in 3D, but once again, it's their way. I don't know if your audience is probably not familiar with a good old singer. There's a way before my time too. I mean, I'm old, but I'm not decrepit. Not yet anyway, if I'm blessed to be decrepit. Frank Sinatra, God bless his soul. He had a song called, I Did It My Way.
My way. Mm-hmm.
It was, and so when you listen to the lyrics, it goes back to like, I don't know about anybody else's way, my way. This is the way I did it. So I think that same philosophy applies here when you look at, again, and you're right, Cole, it goes, we always expect somebody to say the next so-and-so, because that's how society is, looking for the next greatness. But then I think for me, when the next greatness happens, it's a surprise.
It is.
I don't think that we should put onus, unless they want onus on themselves. I won't be the next so-and-so. I was asked once in an interview, and I forgot the person that they were referring me to, about if so-and-so stepped up, they're a legendary broadcaster here in Chicago. If so-and-so stepped down and you were asked to take their position, how would you feel about taking on their footsteps? And I replied, those footsteps belong to that person, whoever is retiring. I'm putting on my own pair of shoes and starting my own path.
I love that.
Yeah, let those footprints belong to somebody else. I got to start my own footprint, so I don't need to wear his shoes. I got to put my own shoes on and start my own road. And that's to be said of anybody that's out here doing this or doing anything in life. You have to, obviously, you're walking the path that's traveled. It's your path and nobody else's. And you have to realize that there's going to be pitfalls and trials and tribulations. That's for anybody. The key thing is, can you dust yourself off? One thing I like about the movie Rocky Balboa,
Right.
First of all, Sylvester Stallone does not give enough credit. He is a brilliant writer. He really is. The scene where he's talking outside his son at Adrian's, and he's like, nobody hits harder in life, but the key thing is to dust yourself off and keep moving forward. And he keeps telling his son that. It's like, look, because his son was saying, Dad, you cast a big shadow. And he was like, look, I may cast a big shadow. That's my shadow. If you want something, to go out and get it. Don't blame me or her or anybody else. You got to get that. That's what winning is all about.
Mm-hmm.
And Sylvester Stallone wrote that stuff.
Yeah, it's absolutely right. It's you can easily. It's easy for you to. I think it's easier for people to blame mothers when they don't succeed, and they don't realize that it's how you're thinking about it. It's your mindset. It's how you're approaching it. If you keep approaching it like I'm the victim, then that's what you're always going to be. You need to go into the mindset like, regardless of what obstacles I'm facing in life, I'm going to, like you said, pick myself up, dust myself off, keep it moving. Because the moment you stay and you wallow in your self-pity and you're like, oh, woe's me, or woe, you're going to lose. And then you're wondering why things happen, why the same negative things are happening. Well, that's the energy you're putting. When you're in that self-doubt, in that self-pity, and you're saying, oh, it's me, it's look at what's happening to me. What are you talking about? It's happening to everyone. People.
Golf in the Mahoning Valley starts at Mill Creek Golf Course. Mill Creek Golf Course is the host venue for the AJGA PGA Hope Program, 8 high school teams, and 2 collegiate teams. Mill Creek Golf Course is your Callaway certified golf club fitting facility. It was named the PGA of America's National Merchandiser of the Year for a public facility 2022. Book your tee time at 330-740-7112 or online at millcreekmetroparks.org.
SNK, painting your house today. SNK, painting your house
SNK Painting provides exceptional painting and refinishing services to the Mahoning Valley and surrounding communities by being an industry leader in our field, focusing on customer service and delivering extraordinary results. We offer interior and exterior painting, and we specialize in cabinet refinishing with affordable cabinet solution. Call SNK Painting for your free estimate at 330-505-1910.
SNK, painting your house today.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
So why do teenagers play high school sports?
It's that time again when all we want to talk about is football. High school, college, and pro football. There's one man set to bring it all to you. It's time for Just Football with Matt Emsch. Matt was a first-time AP, all-offensive lineman with the Ursuline Irish, and 3-time national champion with Youngstown State. And now, here's Matt.
And welcome to Just Football with Matt Emsch. I am your host, Matt Emsch, and welcome back, everybody. It's been, about 2.5 years since I had, a lot of my friends and people that know I've had some health issues that have kept me off the air and from my real love, calling football games, and that is so special to me, and I'm just so happy to be back. And I just wanted to, start the show off by just thanking my family and, of course, God. But, I want to also thank Jim Craven and Bob Gessler, the owners of the station, and Dave Ferris, who's the engineer and part owner, and Mark Means and my partner, Matt Lipsack, and Mr. Clark, Mr. Dave Clark, I'm getting to know. I just wanted to thank them all. I want to thank all of the sponsors who have come on with us this season, not just for, my show, but mostly for the game. You guys are getting, being a part of the show as just being a sponsor for the game. So thank you so much to all of you guys. Again, hello to all my friends and, my family, Stacy, my wife, my daughter, Amira, our dog, Hadley. I'm going to it's my show. I can do what I want. About a week and a half ago, I think now, we had to put my best friend on the planet, my 16-and-a-half-year-old dog, Beamer, who was my shadow. He was my best friend. We had to put him down, and we miss him. And I know there's people out there listening like, oh, God, please. They don't see animals as part of your family. But I'm going to tell you, there's something wrong with you if you have that thought, because they are part of your family. Anybody that has pets and has love for them, you know what I'm talking about. Beamer was a year older than my daughter, Amira, and they grew up together. And my house is just different now. It's just not the same. And I miss them. So this show is for you, little buddy. I miss you. I love you. Getting into football, obviously, that's what the show is mostly about. We are going to have some guests today. The three crews that we have here, Western Reserve Radio, Jim Craven and his partner, Bob Gessler, they call all the games for Springfield Local. Jim is going to be here today about 6:15, and then at 6:30 we're going to have another part of our second crew, that channel number 2 on westernreserveradio.com. That is Mr. Dave Clark. Mark Means is his partner. He is also one of my mentors that got me involved in radio, and also my uncle, a local legend. Mark's a legend as well. John Cappy Caparianis hasn't been in good health, and I just wanted to say hi to my uncle. Those two helped get me on here. And then finally, that'll be at 6:30, and at 6:45, the Matt and Matt show will be back. My new partner, Matt Lipsack, he is going to be graciously calling in, just like Jim will be, because they have a hockey game tonight. Phantoms, I believe, will be playing tonight, and good luck to them and putting it on, and good luck to my partner. He is first and foremost always been a hockey guy, and he came in from day one at the Youngstown Phantoms and has just done an incredible job. And he is the voice of the Phantoms. And I was lucky enough, after losing my partner that I love a lot, Tim Continenza, and him and I were together for years. And he, while I was sick, went and he didn't stop, obviously. And I applaud him for that. And he's working in PA. And if he's listening, miss you, brother. He went and is doing his thing successfully. So I needed a new partner, and Matt, happily wanted to get involved with not only being part of calling football, he wanted to do one of the harder things to do, and that's to be a play-by-play guy. And I'm going to tell you what, as somebody that is not a rookie anymore, I've been around for a while. He is doing an unbelievable job. So he is just good on the radio, and I am very blessed to have Matt as my partner, and we're getting along well, and he's got a beautiful family, 2 kids, and a wonderful wife. And we have a big game this week on Friday on City View Sportscast. We're going to have the Middle Ridge Rams 4-1 versus the Lowville Rockets 4-1. It's a away game at Rocket Stadium. If you can't get there, or even if you are there, turn us on, turn the radio on. You go to westernreserveradio.com, and there'll be 3 choices there. We will be the third choice. You will see Mineral Ridge Rams, and it'll click the City View Sportscast, and that will be our matchup. So I am beyond excited. I am loving being here. And, I also wanted to real quick, just say to some people out there, my good friend, Martin Groves, who has been very sick. I hope that you're doing better, buddy. And, there's a gentleman who is very important to the Mineral Ridge faithful and the community, and that's Mr. Harry Bittner, and he is also going through some health issues. And sir, we just want you to know that we are behind you as well, and your family. I'm going to tell you what, they sure love you, and everybody, all of the Rams family is here for you and your family. Chris, Stacy Bittner, and Zach Stacy, that's his grandfather. And, we're here for you guys. And we just wanted you guys to know that if you need anything, we're here. So, aside from our game, there's a ton of other matchups that are going to be coming on. And, one of those that is big, and I'll save my matchup for when my partner calls in, is my alma mater, the Ursuline Fighting Irish, are going to be playing the Fitch Falcons, who in the last couple weeks have shut up a lot of the haters out there who basically had written them off after they had a big loss. And they have turned it on in consecutive weeks. They've beaten Iggy, St. Ignatius, only the Wildcats, one of the best Catholic school programs, just football programs in the entire state of Ohio. And I think they play Stowe Monroe Falls or something like that. If I'm saying the name wrong, I apologize. And they just decleated them. So they have turned it on, and this is going to be a big matchup. TJ Parker is in his 4th season at Fitch. And then Dan Reardon is in his 5th year. It seems like he's been there longer than that. They have a couple seniors I can't say all the names right now. I don't have rosters in front of me, but Clinton Lynch Jr., who is their running back, is an all-world running back. Kid's incredible. I was a freshman at Ursuline when his father, Clinton Lynch Sr., was a senior, and he's one of the best running backs in the history of Ursuline high school history. He was incredible. He went to University of Illinois, played in the Big Ten, did a good job there. His son is just incredible. And then on the other side for Fitch, I'm going to mention who I mention, almost every week, if not every week, is Dom Perry Jr., who is a receiver for the Fitch Falcons. And, last year I got to see Fitch play a couple games, and one of the games I saw, unfortunately, was their playoff loss against Akron St. V's. And it was very simple why they lost to me. I was there, because a friend of mine has a son that plays for the Falcons. So I was there watching with him, and they just didn't utilize their passing game, which is beyond lethal. I have just been speechless since last season as to why. I don't know Coach Parker. I'm not trying to rip them down, but I'm going to say if they don't start utilizing their receiving core, which is led by senior Dom Perry, they're not going to go far in the playoffs again. I don't care if you're beating Ignatius or Stowe or anyone else. So this is a huge season, meaning type game. This is going to really tell us a lot about both these teams. Ursuline is undefeated, as I said. I think I said, they are not afraid to play anybody, and they have an unbelievable schedule, just like, another team every single season. Coach Arnold at Harding, they have just a ridiculous schedule that we always talk about every year, and he's not afraid to play anybody. And that's how you get good. That's how you like Canfield did last year too. You play tough teams in the regular season, and then you get to the playoffs and you have a much easier time. unfortunately for the teams that play weak schedules in the regular season, that might get you to the playoffs with a 9-1 or 10-0 schedule. But unless you're ready to roll and you've played some better teams, you have no idea what you really have. So this game with the Irish and Fitch, obviously, you know who I want to win this game. I want to see Ursuline keep staying undefeated. They've been very angry. I talked to Coach Rear in the offseason. They've been very angry since losing that playoff game to Canfield. And yes, it stings to lose in the playoffs. And sometimes, you know, you lose to a champion, like to a state champion like they did, and it might help. But then you also have the other half of that coin where you lost to the state champion, and that says in your head, if we would have beat them, that could have been us. I just feel like they're on a mission, and it looks really exciting. So we are going to take our first break. When we come back, we're going to have Jim Craven with us, and we're looking forward to it. We'll see you in a little bit.
With over 30 years of experience, Madurix Butcher Block in Mineral Ridge is a quality-driven company focused on great personal service. Our fresh meats are of the finest cut. We make a variety of burgers, sausages, and a full line of deli meats. Using our own smokehouse, we prepare different types of jerky, snack sticks, kibasi, bacon, hot dogs, and bone-in hams. When your tummy needs some relief, call 652-BEEF. That's 330-652-2333.
Action Physical Therapy is a locally owned outpatient physical therapy company serving the Mahoning Valley for over 20 years. With 5 convenient locations in Hubbard, Cortland, Kinsman, Salem, and Mineral Ridge. Action Physical Therapy can handle all of your physical therapy needs. Action Physical Therapy will create a unique plan made specifically for you. Call us at 1-8333-BEST-PT to schedule your evaluation today. Check us out at myactionpt.com. Get back in action with Action Physical Therapy, and as always, go Rams. If you are seeking a skilled photographer in Northeast Ohio with experience in capturing documentary-style photographs for various occasions such as family events, weddings, graduations, sporting events, and other special occasions, look no further than Colleen Moore Photography. Accessible via ColleenMoorePhotography.com, or she can be reached at 330-314-7547. Colleen sends her best wishes to the Mineral Ridge Rams for a fantastic season. Go Rams!
From high school to the pros and everything in between, you're listening to City View Sportscast, part of the iMedia One Network.
And welcome back. I'm your host, Matt Emps. This is Just Football. And I believe we have Jim Craven on the line. Jim, you there?
Absolutely. Driving right down the turnpike here in Western Pennsylvania.
Awesome. Well, thank you for, making the time for us. You have a hockey game you got to do and, just a little bit of time, but I appreciate you sharing your time with us tonight. You guys have, every year, and this year you follow the Springfield Tigers, and man, what a program to follow. They just keep seeming to reload, and it seems no different this season.
Certainly not. And the coaching staff should be commended for what they've done. And what you'll see every year with Sean Guerrero, the head coach at Springfield, is that he tries to work in as many of the underclassmen as he can during the regular season to get them ready for playoffs. And by the time it becomes their turn to step into those starting roles, they're very well prepared. And every year we see 2 or 3 players that we keep an eye on that we know next year they're going to be key players. And it's going to be no different this year in 23 and going into 24.
I mean, like we sit there, me and Matt, while we're calling our game for Ridge, and we're getting up-to-date scores from the other 2 crews. And I couldn't help but just be amazed at not only the final score, which was, I believe, 70-7 or something, or nothing.
Yeah, in the last 2 weeks, they have outscored their opponents 127-0.
So, I mean, the score last week was in the, I believe it was 70-0. And I just kept showing Matt, and we were just in awe. And as you brought up, that's just not last week. That is the last 2 weeks. And they have, for the most part, just gone through everybody like a hot knife through butter. I mean, what can you tell us, about those Tigers that are making them so dominating right now? What players can you throw at us?
Well, the first couple of weeks that they played, first 3 weeks, that was a tough schedule. They took on the Division 5 state champions in South Range, lost that one. But I think about the first quarter and a half, we were a little concerned. And from then on, they really figured it out. And going to Brookfield and getting a big win there. Lost to Division 3 Geneva. And then again, of course, the last 2 weeks have been, I can't even use the word domination, but 2 shutouts coming up there. But we see guys like Colton Rourke, who has stepped in at quarterback. He sat behind Bo Brungard, who's now at Youngstown State. And he has all the tools, 6'3", 200 pounds. He's got the arm for it, the kind of build that you really want in a college quarterback. He has that right now. So he got some learning time. Dante Gentile, running back, has been amazing. He and Kason Kosick have been sharing time there at the running back position, and they've been great. And it's been the development of 2 receivers in Sean Guerrero and Dylan Shealy. And ironically, Dylan's mom and dad, Michelle and Bill, were basketball players. But he's had some big, at my alma mater, good old Woodrow Wilson High School. But it's development that continues every year. And then defensively, it's been outstanding. A lot of the guys are going both ways, but Lucas Totillo, who's just kind of anchoring the center of that defense right now, has done a fantastic job. And Springfield's been one of those teams that have started out slow, but they develop, and you can see them get better every week. You look at last year, 0-4. To start the season, they go on a 6-0 run, win the first round in the playoffs, and then lose a really close one to a good Warren JFK team at Liberty. And unfortunately, their season ended there. But it's been a consistent level of excellence under Sean Guerrero, and that's been the constant denominator for the entire program.
Well, and you just mentioned the one young gentleman, as both his parents were athletes. I mean, you definitely have a recipe in the DNA for obviously another good athlete. Looking at this week, you guys are playing somebody that me and Matt saw just a couple weeks ago in Jackson Milton in the Blue Jays. And, we know what you guys are to expect, but, what are you expecting this week when these 2 match up?
Well, certainly I would expect a tougher matchup than they've had the last 2 weeks. I don't think this is going to be a running clock here in the second half. Jackson Milton's 5-0. Of course, they were the first one to beat Mineral Ridge. Mineral Ridge has been on a great run here in 2023. But I would like to see a tough test for Springfield. They need it. They've had the opportunity to stay healthy. They've had an opportunity to work on things. But as you had mentioned earlier in the show, you play these weak schedules, you go into the playoffs, and you essentially get shell-shocked if you haven't been challenged. Mm-hmm. And I'm hoping that the Jackson Milton Blue Jays are going to be that test. I hope they're going to be the ones they're going to push them and get them back into that battle mindset, that mindset of we don't know what's going to happen. We have to perform at the highest level possible. This isn't going to be a walkover. And certainly, I think from what I can see from Jackson Milton, they have a nice program going there this year. What an exciting game between them and Mineral Ridge, though. That last-second win for the Blue Jays. Win, lose, or draw. That was a fantastic game. Yeah,
it really was. It was heartbreaking for the Rams. I have to say this, though, because, we as broadcasters have to bring in all of the other pieces to it. And they lost Shingledecker, their quarterback, in the first couple minutes of the game. And we got to see him back this past week. And everybody saw what he does when the starting quarterback is there. Ian Erb, who does everything, had 6 touchdowns last week. 5 of them were rushing. 1 was catching. He couldn't have done it without the amazing offensive line he had. But, having Shingledecker back at quarterback takes him from having to worry about playing quarterback and puts him back in that weapon position. So, I have to throw it in there that if he didn't get hurt against the Blue Jays, I really think we might have saw a different score, but it really doesn't matter. It's over with. And, something that I was always taught at a young age by my dad, then when I got to YSU by Jim Tressel, you can learn a lot more from a loss than from a win. And so far, it seems like they've done it. So they have a huge a huge game coming up this week against Lowville. Somebody who just keeps reloading there. But looking at the Tri-County area, is there any other teams that you really are impressed with right now?
Yeah, and I'll say it may sound a little biased, but I got to talk about Poland. Coming off of a little bit of a tough year last year, a subpar year by Poland standards, not generally speaking, but they have come out and they've executed so well. They've done everything amazingly. 5-0. They're going to be taking on the South Range Raiders, which that matchup now really looks like the marquee matchup of the week.
It does.
So you got to be impressed with them. This is what Coach Pavlansky's been looking for. This is what he's been building toward. And I didn't agree with a lot of the calls maybe for him earlier, his first, second year, but certainly he has taken that Rubik's Cube and he's gotten all the colors on one side. And what they did to Hubbard last week, that was absolutely impressive.
Yeah, and he also got a win off of his brother that, I know they love each other, but you don't want to lose to your brother. So he got the state champion,
I'm sure it makes it awkward at Thanksgiving. So it is what it is,
Correct.
But what a great way to have that matchup, the one Pavlansky versus another at Pavlansky Field. And that was a lot of fun of it. And I know both of them enjoyed that despite the outcome.
I'm sure. And, that was, the first team I was thinking of myself was Poland. They have done nothing but impress me. Also, me, I'm not trying to be biased. I have to bring them up, so have the Ursuline Irish.
Yeah. And Ursuline, I'll tell you, I love watching them. We got to do the Farrell Ursuline game last year, and it was like a track meet. And Ryan Bonacci and we were sweaty and tired after that game. Didn't touch the field one time, but we felt like we had gone a couple quarters, and that's the kind of exciting team that they are. And the rankings came out today. They are number one in their region. So we'll see if that can hold up. And certainly at this point, I don't see anybody on the schedule that seems to have the ability to slow them down.
Other than this week, Fitch.
Yeah, and other than this week, that is a great point. Right. They're doing fantastic over there. And what is a couple of big wins Fitch
Holy cow, big time.
You knock off Ignatius, and make no mistake, Ignatius plays a gauntlet of a schedule. And so when they have one loss or two losses, that's nothing against St. Ignatius. That says more about the quality of the schedule they're playing.
Yeah, they're just turning it on. They've played great. Those are, in my opinion, some of the ones that we really need to be watching for to make it some waves and maybe a state championship. Before we go, Jim, can you tell everybody about, tonight's game that you're calling?
I would absolutely love to tell everybody about this. Of course, we love the Phantoms here. We've been part of the organization for many years now. But they are part of the USHL 2023 Fall Classic down here in Cranberry, Pennsylvania. They're going to be taking on the Tri-City Storm, coached by Tony Noreen, former head coach of the Youngstown Phantoms, and they begin the defense of their 2023 Clark Cup Championship. Of course, you can hear that on Western Reserve Radio and all of our platforms there, including the Live 365 network. We'll be on Facebook at Youngstown Phantoms and at Western Reserve Radio, and all of your favorite social media sites. You can catch us there. It'll be tonight and tomorrow. Puck drop's supposed to be 7:30 tonight. That's right. 7:30 tonight, 5:30 tomorrow. I'll get it right. And then, of course, September 30th, they will be opening with the banner raising at the Cavelli Center. $5 ticket night. Call 330-747-PUCK, 747-7825 for great seats and a tailgate party beginning at 3 o'clock in the back of the Cavelli Center. It's going to be a great time. I encourage everybody to get there.
Yeah, go and watch the champions get their ring. You and Dave and Matt are getting some rings as well. Congratulations on that. But thank you.
Who doesn't love a little jewelry?
Well, I do. So thank you very much for being here, Jim. Good luck with doing the hockey games the next 2 days and on Friday with the Tigers.
fantastic. We look forward to everything. And high school football on Friday nights. Can't beat it here on the iMedia One Network.
Agreed. Thank you very much. That's Jim Craven, his buddy and partner, Bob Gessler. They will be calling that Springfield game. Be there, be square. We'll be right back, everybody.
Experience nature's bounty with Creation's Backyard. Elevate your health with the most nutrient-dense foods on earth. From farm to table, sustainably cultivated with care. Grown locally in Niles, Ohio with no chemicals or synthetics ever. Unlock your culinary creativity with Creation Backyard Microgreens. Convenient local delivery and pickup options available. Order now at creationsbackyard.com or call 330-282-7208.
Jesse's Dairy Cove is a hometown favorite, located at 3743 State Route 46, across from the gazebo in Mineral Ridge. Enjoy all of your favorite ice cream. We have over 32 hard scoop and over 40 soft serve favorites. We also have a large food menu, including homemade chili sauce, sloppy joes, pulled pork, fresh cut French fries, and mac and cheese. This fall, we'll start our homemade cookie and party trays. Visit our website at justicedairycove.com to see our menu. At Justice Dairy Cove, we appreciate your business and wish good luck to the Rams.
If you love history, head over to YouTube and check out Blogging Through History. Hosted by Mineral Ridge High School graduate Chris Mowery, Blogging Through History visits historic sites to explore not only the well-known figures and events of the past, but also compelling stories that maybe you've never heard before. Chris would also like to wish his niece Amira Emsch and the Mineral Ridge Rams the best of luck for a successful 2023 season. From high school to the pros and everything in between, you're listening to City View Sportscast, part of the iMedia One Network.
And welcome back to Just Football. I'm your host, Matt Emsch, and we're having a good time getting the show back on the air. I want to thank Jim Craven for calling in, taking time, literally driving to do a Phantoms game. And he's going to be having fun with my partner, Matt Lipsack, tonight, who will be calling in at 1:45. We are waiting on a call from one of our other crews, like I had mentioned earlier. Mr. Dave Clark is going to be calling in any second, and his partner, Mark Means, they call different games every single week, and we're going to hopefully get a call from him. And in fact, we believe that we got Mr. Clark on the line. How you doing, sir?
Doing good. How about yourself?
We're doing very well. I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to call in and, just talk a little bit about, what you guys are up to this week. The difference between you and Mr. Means is you have different teams every single week. Jim and Bob have Springfield. Me and Matt have Mineral Ridge. Who do you and Mark have this week?
Yeah, it looks like we'll be back to our home away from home at Malakoff as we get Warren Harding and Cheney.
That sounds like a great matchup. We always joke with each other, whoever gets a game at Mollenkoff, because as you've learned, I'm sure those stairs walking up to that booth it's not a pleasant ride up there.
No, absolutely not. I mean, I actually didn't know I was going in to do an exercise routine and get all the cardio in, but that's a walk for you.
Yes.
You be ready, revved up and ready to go.
Yes, sir.
Get up there.
But it's a beautiful facility. They take really good care of us. And, you mentioned you're going to be at Harding. Harding coming off, a really tough behind the woodshed beating from Ursuline last week.
Yes, they did. And their schedule, when I just looked at, we didn't see this to be our third time seeing Harding, and their schedule is lights out. And that's why I looked at this game and said, you got to throw the records out. Both teams are played some pretty good schedule, but Harding has really played some. And they took a beating last week, and I'm sure they want to get back on that field. Whenever you go through something like that, you can't wait to get back on the field and rectify some of those things. So I'm looking for a pretty good game. I say you just put the records, like I said, out the window, and it's like starting over with these two teams when they get together.
Well, the thing that, I had mentioned it earlier about, those certain teams out of the area that just, they know what they have to do well in the OHSAA playoffs to get to a championship. You have to have a difficult season if you want to be prepared for the playoffs, because you're coming against the best. And I mentioned, Coach Arnold at Harding started off with Canton McKinley, then Akron Buckdale, Farrell, Akron St. V, St. Mary, Ursuline, this week Cheney, then Boardman, Cardinal Mooney, Maslin, and Fitch. It has to be one of the top three in the state.
Oh, it's got to be for sure. With so many teams getting in the playoffs, it'd be weird if they could squeeze out 4 wins. And it sounds crazy, but be 4-6 with that schedule, they may still be in it. And one thing about it, we'll know they'll be ready for whatever they're going against because they have played a heck of a schedule.
Now, Coach, I'm calling you Coach. I apologize, Dave. You played football I basically can't call you Coach because you real quick, tell our listeners, you have quite a football history yourself. You want to real quick let everybody know what you did in your career?
Oh, yeah. I played through high school at Youngstown East. And when I got done back then in 1978, man, we're going back. But when I got done then, I did have a full ride to go to University of Cincinnati and play. And I didn't go because I had lost my dad the same year of my graduation.
So sorry.
And my mom was not in the best of health at that time either. So I actually passed it up and stayed home for 2 years. But that feeling to want to play was always there. And as my mother gained better health and everything like that, I actually went on and played junior college football out of San Diego City College. And I did 2 years there. And then I went on to Cheney State University in Philadelphia, the oldest HBCU, and then finished out at the end at Louisiana Tech. My defensive coordinator had coached at Cheney. He had actually got a job there, and I actually followed him. And then after that, the blessings came upon me. I was able to play in the induction of the USFL when it originally came out with the Jim Kellys and the Reggie Whites and Steve Young and all those guys back then. And I was able to play in the USFL and then have an opportunity to play with the Rams for a year. But I'm going to tell you, a thing that was great, my college career playing against, these are the receivers I was able to play. They say the best of all time in Jerry Rice. 2 years against him.
Incredible.
2 years. Yep, 2 years against John Taylor, who was at Delaware State.
Oh, my God.
And 1 year against Andre Reed, who was at Kutztown State.
Wow.
And I was able to play against some of the best receivers ever. And, if that didn't get you ready for whoever you got to go up against, I don't know what would. That's for sure.
Yes, sir. First of all, congratulations. I mean, that is a career that any young child would pray to have. I applaud you. That's amazing. And also being able to make it as long as you did and stay healthy and do it. But you touching on playing against those 3 players specifically, you're right. Yeah. I mean, that almost even connects to what we talk about the high school playing tougher, opponents during the regular season and get ready. That was getting you ready for being better as a semi-pro and a pro, and you made it to the show. That's incredible.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's something. I mean, it's, playing against those guys. And then it's the thing about it, I look at Jerry Rice, And the team he played for, Mississippi Valley, it's kind of hard to believe, but there was a receiver that was better in Joe Thomas. And this guy, I think he was drafted, he went to the Redskins and blew both of his knees out on the same play. Now, that's a Veteran Stadium in Philadelphia in a preseason game of all things. Coming across, catch the ball, just not even being contacted. Just came down on that turf. And back then, that was that old artificial turf that was really on top of cement. That's all it was.
Yes, sir.
And he blew both of them out. And it's that was unfortunate because he probably would have had a great career in the NFL.
You know, how many players, you know, are lucky enough to make it to college and start playing, and then their careers are ended by that. And you know, that's how, when you mentioned the stadium, I immediately got a gut wrenching feeling, because, you know, I injured my knee first time it ever happened was at YSU. You know, I went to Ursuline and then played at YSU, and I played on the old stuff there too. And that's where I tore my knee up. And I think I remember that injury. Wasn't he coming down, and when he hit the ground, I know exactly the injury, and that's a darn shame. And we might have been seeing another MVP right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes,
that's a shame. Well, flipping the switch back to, and I thank you for telling our fans all about that.
Oh, yeah. No problem.
Jumping back to high school football, flipping it over to the Cheney Cowboys. You know, they have Seth Antrim in his second season. He has a 10-2 record. You know, they were 10-2 last year, struggling a little bit this year. But, you know, is there anything you can tell us a little bit about the Cowboys this week?
Yeah, well, you know, I know they had a few guys that had been injured, and actually getting them back healthy. And you're never 100% healthy, but just to be able to get them back on the field and be able to perform this coming week, I know it's going to strengthen a lot of things in a lot of areas during their these are some guys in the trenches from which they need. And I think that's been the struggles of them this year. Also losing a few guys, but those injuries had a lot to do with them not being able to perform, I think, at the heights that a lot of people were looking for them to perform. So we want to see how they go from here on out. I think they will be a lot better. But like I said, I believe for sure Harding should put up a good fight in that game. And I just look forward to be a really, really good game. So coach over there at Cheney has been doing a great job. So just to keep those, a lot of times you have in the trenches, when you lose guys, sometimes your team can fall apart. So if you can keep them at least above water and keep moving forward, then you got an opportunity. And I think that's what Cheney has. The second half of the season is going to be big for them.
Right, it is. Yeah, I was looking at they got some of the similar teams that Harding has. You know, they have Ursuline and Mooney, and I think Boardman on there. So they definitely have a tough season coming for them. Mr. Clark, we'll end this with, if you could give any advice to some of the young men out there that played your position, if there was a couple things that if you know you really could tell them to do in their career or practicing or anything that you think could help them, what would it be?
Well, I tell you, if they're serious about moving to every level, one of the things I learned way back was be a sponge. Gym rat and be a sponge, and just work on your craft, because a lot of times we try to go in there just on pure talent, and you know, or you got great speed, but you got to work on the techniques. They're very important. I don't care how fast you are, how strong. It's the techniques. A team that is very technically sound, or a player, will take you to the woodshed. So you want to get all your techniques down, and really, like I said, be a sponge. People that you know have already done it, go and start picking their brains and finding out, you know, what you can do to better yourself. So always be a sponge. Don't think you know everything, because you're learning something all the time. So that's the main thing I tell them to be, and have an open mind to these things and try them.
Absolutely. That is priceless information. I couldn't agree with you more. Mr. Clark, you and Mark Means will be at Harding Stadium at Mollenkoff this Friday. And everyone can listen to you on Channel 2 on Western Reserve Radio. Sir, thank you for being here, and I wish you good luck this weekend.
Yeah, thank you very much, and I appreciate you having me on the show.
Yes, sir. Take care.
All right, you also.
That was Mr. Dave Clark, and he, like I said, him and Mark Means have the Raiders and the Cowboys this week. And on Friday, you can find them at Western Reserve Channel 2. And we will be right back with Matt Lipsack. See everybody in a second.
W&M Quality Roofing, LLC is an insured and bonded Mahoning Valley family-owned roofing business. At W&M, we treat your roof and home as if it's our very own. Give us a call at 330-647-0610 for a free estimate. Did you get damage from the latest storm? We also offer financing and specialists for insurance claims. For professional and efficient service, call W&M Quality Roofing at 330-647-0610.
SNK, painting your house today. SNK, painting your house
SNK Painting provides exceptional painting and refinishing services to the Mahoning Valley and surrounding communities by being an industry leader in our field, focusing on customer service and delivering extraordinary results. We offer interior and exterior painting, and we specialize in cabinet refinishing with affordable cabinet solutions. Call SNK Painting for your free estimate at 330-505-1910.
SNK, painting your house today.
With over 30 years of experience, Madurix Butcher Block in Mineral Ridge is a quality-driven company focused on great personal service. Our fresh meats are of the finest cut. We make a variety of burgers, sausages, and a full line of deli meats. Using our own smokehouse, we prepare different types of jerky, snack sticks, kibasi, bacon, hot dogs, and bone-in hams. When your tummy needs some relief, call 652-BEEF. That's 330-652-2333. From high school to the pros and everything in between, you're listening to City View Sportscast, part of the iMedia One network.
And welcome back. I'm your host, Matt Emps. This is Just Football. And on the phone, we have the other Matt from the Matt and Matt Show, my partner, Matt Lipsack. Matt, how you doing?
I'm doing very well, Matt. How about you?
I'm doing well. We had Jim on, and Mr. Clark was just on. And you and Jim, as Jim explained, are going to be just a touch busy, with the hockey game tonight. And, you're getting ready for it. And I want to tell you how much that we appreciate you taking time out of that, getting ready literally to be on the air right now.
Yeah, pregame show starts in about a half hour, but I'm happy to, take a little time to talk a little gridiron before I turn my brain to pucks.
Well, we were talking about some of the other teams in the area that have really, started to separate themselves from the pack. I'm gonna say the same thing to you that I said to Jim and Dave. I said, who really has stepped up and really impressed you these past few weeks?
I mean, obviously the Ursuline Irish are taking on all comers and looking a little bit like world beaters right now. But I think that the team that you and I cover, the Mineral Ridge Rams, they did suffer a setback against the Jackson Milton Blue Jays, but I think it has shown for the Rams that when they play their style of football, and Ian Erb is pounding the ball, and then Jacob Russell is pounding the ball, and that defense goes to work. I don't know if there's, that many teams that can beat them.
I agree. We were talking about the Springfield Tigers matchup this week, and they have Jackson Milton when I was talking to Jim. And, I had to throw it in there. if it wasn't for Shingledecker getting hurt, in the first couple minutes of that matchup, you and I have already spoken about this, and I'm sure a lot of the people that were there that saw the game or saw it on, video or heard it on the radio, pretty sure that the way that the Rams play when they have everyone at their disposal, it pretty much, in my opinion, would have been a different outcome.
Oh, I think that really goes without saying. Just the Rams. If when it comes down to it, really, the mental mistakes have kind of been, they're down. Obviously, they've only lost the one game, and the other two really haven't been. Well, I guess the Pie Valley game was kind of close, and mental mistakes almost cost them that game too. So really, I think we have, Mineral Ridge has shown that when they, try to play mistake-free football, that is kind of their key.
I agree. And, that's something Coach Shaner has talked about with you and I both, is every week is that they attack, the new week with looking at what, I like what he says. He says, we look in the mirror, the coaches first, we look in the mirror, and then we move on to the players, and they do the same thing. And for the most part, everything that he has said in his interviews, and when I've seen him just personally, we just talk, he has they have corrected those problems, and we definitely got to see them bounce back last week, and an incredible game that they just, had, like we mentioned, they had all of their ducks in a row, so to speak, and they just beat them up.
And, really, I think we are in for a treat on Friday night when Ridge takes on Lowville down in Rocketown, because both teams coming in at 4-1, and then obviously Lowville losing last week to Western Reserve. That could be, we could be in for a treat on Friday night.
Yeah, I agree. I was actually at the stadium today. Bob Ballone, the AD and the father of Vinny Ballone, who was, Mr. Everything quarterback for the Rockets last year. They had the best record in school history last year, 11-1. Actually coached there in 94, 95, and 95. We went 10-0, and we had owned that. So, no, I'm happy for him. Just playing around. They broke that record. They were really ready to go on, but they, just made some mistakes. Mistakes, as we've talked about, that is just something that can kill you. We've seen the importance sometimes of what 1 point can make. And I agree with you, Matt. I mean, Lowville coming off their first loss of the season, very similar type of situation, I'm sure, in their wheelhouse as where Mineral Ridge was after that Jackson Milton game. So it's just going to be one of the better games that I believe is going to go down in the area this week. And his Vinny Ballone, his little brother, I believe his name is Michael, is the quarterback now, and he's supposed to be really good. So we are just super excited about the game coming up. Is there anything else, Matt, that you can think of for this week going into it that you just see maybe just a little bit of an edge for either or team?
Well, I think that, the option quarterback has given Mineral Ridge a little bit of trouble at times. And, Michael Ballone, he does it all for the Rockets. I'm trying to get to his stats on my phone while you and I are talking.
No problem.
And let's see here.
I'm sorry to put you in a tough question there.
So he's got almost 600 yards passing through 5 games. So we'll call that a $125 average. He's got 313 rushing yards. So that's 60 yards a game average. And then also, I think we need to watch out for Rivera Ocasio,
right,
from Lowville as well. He's got 408 yards rushing. I mean, Ballone averages 8.5. Rivera Ocasio averages 7.8. And then Perry averages 7.4. Those are some lofty averages, and if Max Prep stats are correct, Matt, they've only punted 4 times on the season.
Well, that's very telling. And you know, I had mentioned this to Jim and Mr. Clark. You know, you just have like Springfield, you know, they have reloaded, and that's the same thing with Lowville. I think, you know, when I was in high school, Lowville really struggled. They were one of those programs, unfortunately for them, that just year in and year out, you didn't really expect much for them. Well, I mean, at least 5 to 7 years, they just seem to reload, and, you know, they're doing a great job. You know, carrying that on. They have a defense that I was reading about that is also very stifling. Their defensive line is that group is part of their leadership for the Rockets. So it's going to be fun. You know, like I said, I went there to look at what we have. We have an all grass field. So we're going to get a little bit of that in the stadium down in the hollow where the train drives by. Anybody that's never been to a Lowville high school game, football game, they have train tracks that literally go right by the stadium, and sometimes they have to take a break because the train will drive by, and they like to honk when they drive by. So a really cool place, different place to play football, a proud daddy moment. My daughter Amira, who is the featured twirler for Mineral Ridge, is going to be twirling fire at the game. The AD gave me permission. He said that'd be great. So she's going to be doing fire for the first time because they have a grass field. But more than anything, man, I am just excited about her and being with you, and, you know, another week of high school football. But can you tell our fans and our listeners, because I guarantee a bunch of our listeners like more than just one sport. You tell us a little bit about this little hockey game that you're involved with this evening.
So the Youngstown Phantoms are about to begin their Clark Cup defense this evening. I'm actually sitting right in front of the UPMC Lemieux Sports Complex in Cranberry Township, Pennsylvania, which is the practice facility for the Pittsburgh Penguins, and the Phantoms are about to open their regular season. Puck drop is in about 35 minutes, and the pregame show is going to start in about 20 minutes over on Western Reserve Radio 1. And yeah, the Phantoms, you know, on paper, they think they're better than they were last year, actually, if you can believe that or not. So I'm excited. You know, I've been sitting here trying to, you know, do this, that, and the other thing on my phone. And Matt, you know, I think just before we leave the Lowville game, I think maybe you mentioned how 1 point can make the difference in a football game. The Lucido for Lowville is only converting 60% of his extra points.
Oh, very interesting.
Powell is up around like 80. You know, he's missed 3. 2 of them were blocked, and 1 he did miss. So, you know, can't really put the blocked ones on the kicker because, you know, there's a whole operation that goes into that. But, you know, 1 point can make a difference. Landon Powell is a weapon.
Well, that is, thank you so much for jumping back into the game. That is definitely some telling stats there. And everybody out there, I'm going to tell you how incredible my partner is. He's sitting during the game. He has an app on his phone that does stats. We don't have a stat guy. My stat guy, Matt's stat guy, is himself. So he's standing there doing play-by-plays and stats on an app as we are calling the game. So, you know, I give high praise to my partner. You know, aside from calling one of the hardest sports on earth to call in hockey, he's doing a great job in his first season as a play-by-play guy. And as I said before, it's an honor having you as my partner, and I hope that you will join us regularly on the show this year.
Absolutely. I can't wait. I'm looking forward to getting back into hockey here this evening. And then again, tomorrow, the Phantoms will be taking on the Cedar Rapids Rough Riders. Puck drop there is 5:30, so we'll go on the air at about 5:15. And then 6:45 Friday night, you and I will be together in Lowville.
Now it's going to be an exciting weekend, and I guess I have to do this. Mark Means, who's also a good friend of both of ours, is not super crazy happy about when I told him this. I will be with my wife and some very close friends of ours Saturday night. We're going to be in South Bend, Indiana, at the Notre Dame Ohio State matchup. So. Gonna get some good college football in. Yes, I will take some pictures, everyone, and send them your way. That's also going to be an incredible matchup this week.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Notre Dame's checking in, top 15 or so, aren't they?
I believe so. I don't know what they're ranked at the moment. I am not going to mess with my phone with you on here, but they are highly ranked. Of course, everyone knows where the Buckeyes are. And I get to sit back a little bit and have both of my
6 and Notre Dame 9.
There you go. There you go. Awesome. Well, that's a huge matchup. Everyone has trouble believing that I can be a fan of both. I am everybody's shock. So I'm going to get to sit back and not be stressed. And whoever wins, I'll be happy for them. I'll be there, for the Irish more so, but I can't cheer against either. So it'll be just nice to not have to have stress in that. So Matt Lipsack, thank you so much for being on my show. First one back in a while, and it was an honor. And I can't wait to call the game on Friday with you, sir.
No problem, brother. We will catch you Friday right here on City View, 6:45 for the pregame show, and then we'll get it going. Can't wait for the Rockets.
Thanks, brother. That was Matt Lipsack. Check him out on the Phantoms, Western Reserve 1. This was Just Football with Matt Emsch. Great to be back, everybody. See you next week.
Storks are bringing me a baby brother. We can do this together.
All right, let's go. Storks know how to keep kids safe. Do you?
What? Oh my gosh, you don't know.
I know.
You don't. Oh man, you laugh when you're uncomfortable.
No. Making sure your child is in the right car seat is one of the steps to safer travel.
I will rock this.
You will rock this. To know for sure that your child is in the right car seat for their age and size, visit safercar.gov/the right seat. Cool. Very cool. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the